Hello viewers, this Too Fast here. In today's video, I'll show you how to do an oil change on this Nissan Rogue. Now the service is for the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine and not the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. This generation of the Nissan Rogue initially started with the 4-cylinder, but later Nissan introduced the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine. And in the beginning of this video, I will take a minute to clarify which Nissan Rogue came with which engine, because it can be a little confusing. But if you have the Rogue with a 3-cylinder engine, then this is the video for you. I'll go over every step in doing this service. Let's get started. Now I want to mention this vehicle I'm working on is a 2023 Nissan Rogue. The engine that's in this vehicle is a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder direct injection VC turbo. The VC is variable compression. This engine was introduced starting in model year 2022 for the Nissan Rogue. If you own a 2021 Nissan Rogue, that vehicle came with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. And the steps I'm going to show you to do the oil change on this engine is different than the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. Now to make it a little bit more confusing, if you have a Nissan Rogue in Canada and you have the S trim, that model still comes with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. But the other higher trim levels will come with a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine. Now an easy way you can tell whether you have a 4-cylinder or a 3-cylinder is look at the engine cover you see right here. There are 3 stripes that represent a 3-cylinder, and at the top it says VC Turbo. This is the first oil change I'm doing on this Nissan Rogue, and currently it has 5,000 miles. Here I'll place the car ramps. Make sure the ramp is straight. Pop open the hood. To release the hood, you see a yellow latch right in here. Put your finger behind it, push it to the left, and then you open the hood. Now for most engines, either on the oil cap or on a sticker, it'll tell you what type of oil to use, but this vehicle doesn't actually tell you. If you look at the oil cap here, there's no marking on it, and also looking at the stickers around the hood, there's nothing that tells you what type of oil it needs. So I checked the owner's manual, and in there it does tell you this engine uses 0W20 full synthetic motor oil. The parts that you'll need to do this oil change is motor oil. Here I have the Costco Special Kirkland Full Synthetic 0W20 motor oil. If you like Mobil 1, you can use Mobil 1 or whatever other brand you want. Now the oil filter for this engine is part number 15208-65F1B. This filter is different than the one you use on the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. You also need a copper crush washer, just like all the other Nissan oil change that you do. Now let me give you a closer look at this oil filter. Again, the part number is 15208-65F1B, and this filter is actually made by a company called Mahle. The company is a German company, but this filter is made in Japan. Here it says it's made in Japan. And this filter is made specifically for this 1.5 liter VC turbo engine. The filter element inside is a higher quality material, and it provides better filtration for small displacement turbo engines. So if you're doing your own oil change, I highly recommend you stick with the OEM Nissan filter that you see right here. Now, at my local dealer, this cost me $9, which I think is very reasonable. If you're shopping online, like on eBay or Amazon, just be careful of fake filters. And just like any other Nissan filters on the side, you have the directions on installation. Basically, it tells you, screw this down until the gasket makes contact, and then tighten this 2/3 turn. Let's look underneath the vehicle. And you'll see there is a splash shield that you need to remove. And this is pretty common with most newer cars. And the piece you want to remove is this one right here. It's held on by plastic clips and 2 10mm bolts. Now the 2 10mm bolts are at the front. There's one right here. And there's another one over here. The rest of the clips are all plastic clips that needs to be removed. Now to remove the plastic clips, you can use a small slotted screwdriver like this and just carefully pry on one of the side and then pop that middle pin and remove the clip. But sometimes that center pin can be stuck on pretty tight. You can also use a tool like this, which really helps in removing that center pin. If you want to pick one up, I'll include the link in the video description below. Once you have all the clips removed, then the panel can be removed. Here's a close-up look at one of these plastic clips. You see there is a center pin that's sticking out right now. Now when you first take it out, it'll look like this. What you want to do is use a small flathead screwdriver and just carefully pry up the side, and then using this plier, you can grab the side and pull the whole clip out. And when it comes time to reinstalling it, just pop this into the hole and then push this center pin down. In total, there are 18 plastic clips and 2 10mm bolts. Here's a look at the splash shield all around the side. These are all the holes where you install the clips. And the material you see here is like a fiber material. And I'm sure besides keeping water, rain, dirt, snow from getting the bottom of the engine bay dirty, this will also help reduce noise. With the cover off, let's take a look underneath. The oil pan is on the passenger side. This black cover you see right here, that's the oil pan. Now one thing to note, this pan is a composite material, it's not metal. The other pan you see here on the driver's side, that's the transmission pan. Here I'll put the drain pan right underneath. Now the engine is cold, I do recommend you warm it up for a couple of minutes, so when you drain the old oil, it'll flow a lot faster and you'll get most of the old oil out. Just keep in mind, if the oil is very hot, the motor oil will come out very fast and it might splash everywhere. Here's a closer look at this oil pan. The drain bolt is this one right here. It's 14mm, just like all the other Nissans. Near the front, this is the oil filter. So with the location of the filter and the drain plug, it does make oil change very simple, but the only thing that'll slow you down is having to remove that splash shield. Here I'll use a 14mm ratchet to remove the drain bolts. Now I do want to point out with the location of that drain bolt, it's more sideways. So when I took off the drain bolts, the motor oil came out sideways and made it quite a mess. So keep that in mind if you're doing this oil change yourself. To remove the oil filter, I'll be using a filter wrench. From the factory, it's on very tight. Once you loosen it, just let it drain for a few minutes, and then you can remove it. Get a towel and wipe the surface, and make sure the gasket from the old filter is not stuck on this surface. Looking at the drain bolts, you see there's a copper crush washer. You need to remove the old one. And replace it with a new one that you see right here. Now in my dealership where I got the oil filter, when I buy the filter, they will throw in this crush washer. They don't charge me extra for it. And depending on where you buy your filter, if they don't include it, then you'll need to buy this crush washer. Now looking at this new crush washer, there's a round side and a flat side. You want to place a round side towards the bolts and just screw it down. Like this. With only a small drip right now, go ahead and wipe this area and then reinstall the drain bolts. Now the female side of the threading is metal, which they molded into this pan. But I recommend you still be very careful when you're tightening the bolts. The torque spec for this drain bolt is 25 foot-pounds. If you do have a torque wrench, you can use it. Tighten this down to 25 foot-pounds. Because the surface is not a smooth surface like a regular metal pan, it's hard to wipe clean. So if you want, you can use a little brake clean and spray this area. That way it's nice and clean when you put everything back together. with a new oil filter, take some of the new oil and lubricate the thread and also this rubber gasket you see right here. Now install the new oil filter. Again, following the instructions on the side, it tells you once the gasket makes contact with the surface, then turn this 2/3 turn. Hand tighten it until you can't turn anymore. Remove the oil cap. The amount of oil that you need to put into this engine with the oil filter change is 4.7 US quart. So we'll pretty much empty this whole bottle, which is 5 quart, into this engine. So right now I left about 1/4 quart in this bottle. In a second I'm going to check the level and see if I need to put more oil in it. Now I'm going to start it up and let it run for about 20-30 seconds. Check underneath the vehicle, make sure there are no leaks. Go ahead and turn off the engine. With the vehicle still on ramps, I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the splash shield. Now earlier I mentioned there were 18 plastic clips I took out. Actually, you only need to take out 16 clips. This one at the corner right here, you can actually leave it in place because this clip is not holding down the splash shield here. But this clip next to it on the splash shield do need to be removed. And on the other side there's also a clip like this that you don't need to remove. Now I'm going to drive the car off the ramp. Now that the car is on a level surface, I'll check the oil level. And here's a look at the oil level. This dot on the right is for low, this dot on the left is for high, and right now we're almost at the high side. I'm going to go ahead and pour in the rest of the oil into this engine. So to do the oil change on this vehicle, just pour in the entire 5 quart, and that'll be the right amount of oil for this engine. Let me show you how to reset the oil maintenance reminder on this vehicle. On the steering wheel, press the left button here until you get to the settings icon, and then press the middle button to enter. Scroll down until you get to maintenance. Press enter. Now scroll down to oil and filter. I set my oil and filter reminder to be at 5,000 miles. Now the left number shows 0 because I've gone ahead and reset it. Normally you would see a number that is either below 5,000 or above 5,000 miles. And if you need to reset that, scroll down to reset, enter, and then select yes to confirm the reset. And that'll reset the number to what you're seeing right now, which is 0 miles. And then when you get to the next 5,000 miles, the maintenance reminder will show up on the dash. Now on this vehicle, there's another reminder called the oil control system. And this one is programmed in the vehicle itself. So actually, even though my car has 5,000 miles, the car is telling me the oil needs to be changed at about 7,500 miles. But for me, I'm going to keep changing it at 5,000 miles interval. If you press enter, you can also reset this one so you won't get notified at 7,500 miles. Select yes and press enter. Now you can exit out the menu. And that's how you reset the maintenance reminder on this Nissan Rogue. And that's how you do an oil change on a 2022 and newer Nissan Rogue with the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder VC turbo engine. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave one in the comments section. For a list of all the tools and materials used for the service, check out the link in the video description below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. To support this channel, remember to click on thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notification bell so you get notified of new videos.